Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a script that's going to send out emails from your Google Sheets. So basically, I have this very simple spreadsheet, and I have emails, and I have names for people, and I have the class they'll be attending. And I'll be sending emails to these people and say that, you'll be attending this class, right? Something basic. Obviously, this should be their actual emails for your people, but I'm not going to spam anybody, so I'll just use this email. So basically, the whole point of this app is going to be to get a list of people with their emails and just send them email in bulk. And we'll also probably create another column here later on, and that would be like if you wanted to send emails to some people and not send it to others, maybe we'll have an indication in this column to say which ones to send and which ones not to send. But first of all, let's get started with a simple thing. Let's make sure we just send emails to everybody in our list, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go under Tools, Script Editor. This is going to be my script editor, and that's my script. I'm going to call this send emails, the function. I'll go ahead and save this with Command S, Control S, give this a project name, and I'm going to call this, send emails. Why not? So what I need to do, first of all, is to just run through all those lists, figure out how many emails we have, how many rows we have, all that simple stuff. So if you haven't watched my tutorials before, I've covered all of this before, so I'm not going to go into details what exactly I'm doing here. If you want to know more details, just go back and watch those and then come back to this one. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call this an app, and that will be my spreadsheet app. So, and I'm going to get the active spreadsheet, get my active sheet, and actually I'm going to call this SS. I'm just going to get that sheet. So there it is. So that's my current sheet. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just figure out how many rows I have here. So I'll just go ahead and use my get last row, and I'll assign it to a variable. I'll call var lr for last row, and that should get us the last row where we have some data. So in this case, it should get 3. So at this point, what I have to do, I have to loop through all of these emails and send out email one by one. So to be able to loop through them, I'm going to use a for loop. And I'm going to say for var I starting 0, and then we'll make sure that I loops through basically all the way through our last row. So I'm going to say less than or equal to, and actually instead of starting from 0, I'll probably start from row 2. I want to start here from the second row, so I'll start from 2 and I'll go for as many rows as necessary. So 2, 3, that should be it. In this case, I'll do equal sign to make sure I include the last row in it. So, and I also have to make sure I have an incrementer, I++. So that's our regular for loop that's going to just run it as many times as necessary. I guess to keep this clear, I'll assign a variable, call it email, or maybe just call it current email. And that should be equal to, so the current email in that line is going to be in that spreadsheet. I'm going to get range, and we'll get the current row, and my emails are in column 1. So the first column, and I'm gonna go get value, so that's gonna be that current email. So again, I didn't go into detail what exactly I'm doing here. If you're not sure, go back and watch previous videos and then come back to this one to know what exactly I did here. So at this point, this variable should hold our email address. So just make sure that all of that is working fine. I'm going to do logger log, and I'll do current email. Save this. I'm going to go ahead and run this function, and we'll have to give permissions. I'm going to click advanced, click on this, allow. So permissions are good. Now I'm going to go view logs, and there it is, the first email and the second email. Because it's the same email, I'm getting the same email. Okay, good. So we got our email. We put in our current email variable. So what we'll have to do next, we'll have to use this MailApp class. And MailApp, Spreadsheet app allows us to access our Google Sheets, right? So MailApp will allow us to access MailApp, which is gonna basically let us send emails. So these are different send email options we can do. As you can see, we can do the recipient, the subject, and the body. So that looks good to me. So the recipient is going to be the email. So I'm going to get the current email. And the subject, whatever subject that's going to be, I'm going to say reminder and I'll just concatenate their class Excel introduction. So that would be the third column. So if I just go ahead and you know what, let's just make a variable, make it easier to understand. So I'm going to call it current class title, I guess. Current class title, and that's going to be from third column of the current row, 1 to 3. Perfect. So the third column, current class title. So it's going to be reminder. Basically the subject line in our email is going to say reminder, and then Excel introduction or Excel advanced. And then maybe I do another plus and say upcoming class, right? So basically what this is going to do, it's going to say reminder, Excel advanced, for example, upcoming class. And the body should be the actual message. Actually, let's end the line here before I forget to do that. So the body is going to be the actual message I'll be sending out. What I want to do with this body, and this is basically just string, right? You could say, hello, how are you? Something like that. And just doing this should now allow me to send these emails out. So if I go ahead and save this, just go ahead and run this app. Now it's gonna now ask us for permissions again because we're now using the MailApp, and we're gonna have to give permissions for that as well. Continue. Next, allow. Perfect. So that should be sending out emails. There it is. See, the emails are already, both of them, received in a mailbox. So what we have basically right now is this is going to be the title of our email message, and this is going to be the body of our email message. So what I want to do, I want to have some sort of template for the body. And in this particular tutorial, I'm not going to have complicated templates, so I'm not going to do HTML template. It will be simple text template. So I'm going to add a new tab, and I'll call this template. And I'll basically just put my message in this tab in this first A1 cell, just make it wider here, and say, so basically it will be like, hello, John Doe, right? And I'll do Alt Enter to be able to go to the next line. This is a reminder that you have an upcoming class, and I guess this will be upcoming Excel advanced class, and basically, you know, blah 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 blah, right? Best regards, something like that. So nothing extraordinary. So I want to use this cell as my template. So here we can come back and change, but what needs to happen is like this name that we have, or this Excel advanced text, needs to be changed with that person's name and that person's class that they have. So what I will do, I will basically just do some sort of, I guess, build my own templating, I can say. So I'm going to just say name in this curly brackets. And then here I'm going to say title, right, in those curly brackets. And what I will be doing, I'll be basically replacing this curly brackets name text with the name of the person, and this title part with the actual title for that person. That's what I'm going to do. So this is in our template tab, and that's our template. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to my script. So for now, I want to make sure I comment this line. So keep in mind that you have a mail limit, how many emails you can send from your app. And I believe it's the daily limit or whatever limit it is, but I don't remember. But you can actually check your limit, and maybe I'll get to it at some point. Right now, let's just make sure we finish the easy part, right? So I'm going to uncomment that so I don't send out emails right now, so I don't use the Quota, and I'll go ahead and try to create that body of the message. So I'm going to say variable message body equals, so I'm going to start with my message body basically just being blank, right? So what I'm going to do, and maybe I shouldn't have done that, but we'll see. So what I need to do, first of all, I have to go get the template from here, from template tab, right? So I'm going to say, so this is our active sheet. We don't want our active sheet, so I'm going to grab this. So I will go ahead and use this, and that should get our active spreadsheet. And in that active spreadsheet, we're going to get sheet by name. That should be fine, string name. And the name was called template. So that should get us that template tab right here. Now, from that template tab, we want to make sure we get the range, and that's in our A1 cell. And that's the first column, the first row, and I'm gonna get the value, which is basically gonna be that text. So I'm going to say var template text equals this. So just to make sure that so far everything is going well, just I'm going to go ahead and logger.log that template text, semicolon here. Now I want to make sure I go back to this tab to run my script, and just to make sure that I don't have that problem from now on, I'm gonna name this tab emails, I guess. And the first thing I'll do in my script, I'll just select that particular tab. So I'll say that get sheet by name, and this one is called emails, and I'm going to say activate, and activate is just gonna make that tab active. So if I was on this tab, it will first just go back to this tab first before it starts running, because right now as I'm looking through this, I'm looking through my active sheet. Now I didn't really have to do this. Instead of the active sheet, I could just say let's just get this sheet over here. And generally, to be honest with you, that's a better idea. But to maybe show you some of these other functionalities, I'll do this. So so far we have that. So now if I run this, we should be hopefully be able to get this template text, and it should get it multiple times. So we don't really have to get it multiple times. I'm gonna just cut that, put that out of the loop, because you can get the template text once. It's not gonna change, and logger log is gonna be here. Save, run this. Let's check our log. See, that's the text. Perfect. So we've got this text. Now what we have to do, we have to make sure that we search and find this bracket name thing and switch that with that person's name in our loop, right? So how do we search and find in JavaScript? So this at this point, this is going to be text, right? It's string. So in JavaScript, there are methods like, I think replace is one of the available methods, although it doesn't show up here. So I'm just going to say, let's search for name and let's replace it by AAA. And then we'll logger log that template text. Let's see if that's an available method here we can use. Run that, no errors. Go back here. That didn't do anything. Oh, okay, got it. So basically what happened there is that this doesn't actually replace the text itself. It gives you a new object. So what I will have to do, I will have to overwrite, and I don't want to overwrite that. My template text should probably stay the same. I'll call variable email text. Oh, should be equal to template text. Perfect. So now if I let's just remove all those junk. Sorry about this, guys. So what I really need to do here, so basically here it's gonna grab our template text, which is that text we already had. and it had all that name and title in it. Now you can see this one is already replaced. But from that template text, I'm going to take that template text and run this replace function in JavaScript, which will basically search for this, which is that name with brackets that I did, and replace it by this AAA. That's the text that I'm replacing it with. And then this is going to return that new text that's going to have the same thing with that thing replaced. Now, the second thing I wanted to replace there was, and I can chain this methods. And the second thing we wanted to be replaced was the title, if I'm not mistaken. And that should be new title. So, and I can chain multiple times. So I'll just go ahead and run this. Let's take a look and see what happens. See, now it says new title and it says AAA. So we can basically run through that text and find this text and replace it with this new text that we're going to use instead. Okay, so that's good. Now it would probably be nicer to create a function that does all of this in a more pretty way, because you're possibly going to change a lot of things in there, not just this two, but for this tutorial this should do. So I'm just trying to say this is probably not best practice as far as the way I'm going to actually make it happen, although it's going to work, right? So now that email text is going to be our body message right here, and we don't need this variable, so we're going to say our message body is going to be, we're going to grab our template text and replace the name with the name that we want. So the name is, well, we didn't actually do the name, so let's store it in a variable. I'm going to call this current name, and names are in my second column. So that's my second column here. So I'll take that and replace that template name with the current name, and I'll replace the template title with my current class title. And there were 2 semicolons here. We should just have 1. So there we have it. Now, just to make sure that everything is going well, I'm going to log out this message body, and that should now contain 2 email bodies. So let's take a look at our log. So see, hello John Doe, and John Doe is going to see introduction class, and then best regards, blah blah blah, and then hello Anna Smith, this is a reminder you have an upcoming Excel advanced class. There it is. So we're able to construct the actual message of our email. So what we're going to do, instead of, and you know what, before I actually do that, I want to take this reminder that I'm doing and create a variable first. I'll call var subject line equals to that. So that should be our subject line. Just let's log it out. Logger.log. That's subject line. So make sure all is well there. So logs, see reminder Excel introduction upcoming class, reminder Excel advanced upcoming class. Perfect. So now all I have to do is go to my mail app. I don't need this logger log, and just make sure that my subject line is gonna be this, and my message body is going to be this. Save this, and that's really, I believe, all I have to do to make this work. Let's just run this. I'm gonna just test the other part. I'm gonna go to template tab to make sure that it actually switches to my emails tab to be the main one to get this done. So this should send out emails. So let's just go here and make sure, see, it switched to my other tab. So there you have it. Those, see, emails are going in now. Perfect. So that works just fine. What else? So again, some of these things like this templating, the way it should be handled, there are much more elegant ways to handle this. But for this down and dirty way, this should actually just work. So you can see how we're able to run through this list of emails and send out emails. Now, one thing you may need to do, because I think I may have a little time left here, I want to show you that there is actually a limit how many emails you can send out, and I think it's like daily. So one thing that you may want to do first before you start sending out emails, and I just comment this line so I don't send emails, is just get remaining daily quota. And basically, if I assign it var number left or quota left, I don't know, quota left equals that. So if we just log this out, logger log quota left, see, it says 96. So apparently it's 100 emails you can send daily, and I just sent 4 and I got 96 left. So one thing you could do before you start sending out emails is check how many emails you have in the list, and then if your quota is less than how many emails you have, maybe give a warning message and not send emails out in that case. So how many emails? How can I count how many emails? So my emails is going to be how many rows I have minus 1, because the first one is my labels. So I'm going to say basically if my so what is it? So it's last row minus 1 should be my number of emails that I have in a list. So if my number of emails in a list is greater than the quota that's left, right, we may want to just have some sort of warning message. So we should be able to do that with our browser message box, browser object, and message box prompt. And this should be like the text that we're sending out as a warning. So you have plus quota left messages. Oh, this should be text. And literally you have, let's say 96, right? 96 left, and you're trying to send, this is how many emails we're trying to send, plus as many emails. Emails. So there it is. Emails were not sent. Something like that. So it's probably not the best error message, but it should do. So And if that's not the case, so if there is an error, we want to give this error message. Otherwise, we're going to basically do all of this, right? Which is where we're sending the emails out. So I'm gonna make sure I close this after this whole for loop right here, and I'll tab this in. I don't know why tabbing doesn't work very well in this browser, but here we go. So I'll bring this to the same level as this. I'll add a comment, close, else statement. Sometimes it's best to have some comments like this so it indicates what this is for, so it's not too messy. And this one I'm gonna say close for loop. So that's perfect. That should do this. So now we have this warning type of situation. If they have not that many emails left, it will give them an error message. We need to test this out. How am I going to test this? So right now I had like 96, right? So I'm going to say quota left minus 90. So that she minus 90, now it should be 6 left. Actually, let's do 94. So 96 was how many emails I had left. I'm going to take that 96 minus 94, and it's going to think that we have 2 left, which means right now, if I run this, they should actually send out emails. So send emails. So seems to work just fine. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this all over again, because right now we should actually not have enough, because I just sent 2 more, so it should do 94. And 94 minus 94, we're going to get 0, and that should give us that warning. So that seems to get stuck. Oh, so what happened is because I'm running it from over there, it actually opens the browser message here, and there it is. You have 0 left, and you're trying to send 2 emails. Emails were not sent. Perfect. That was all good. So I guess a good way to do this would be to add some sort of button for people to actually send out emails, because otherwise this doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to go under insert, and I'm going to do, I can't even see where the rest are. So I think this is the draw thing. Probably it was not. So there it is, drawing. So I'm going to draw a little button here. I'm going to call it send emails. And I'll try to give this some color. And what is this? Oh, that's the border. Is there a text color on this? Probably. I'm not good with this design stuff. So there it is. So where is the vertical alignment? Is there one available? Anyway, so I'm just gonna resize this, make this kind of look this way, maybe make it bold. Anyway, so that's gonna be my button, right? It's not a design class. So I'm gonna go ahead and save and close. That should add a button. I'll put it over here, and I'm gonna assign that function that I had to this. So once you click on this button, see it has this little 3 dots. I'm going to go ahead and click on it and see it says assign script. Perfect. And what it was the name of my function? Send emails, right? So I'll go here, send emails. That's the function I'm going to assign. So now I'm going to go back here. Let's click. See, you have 0 left and you're trying to send some emails. Emails were not sent. I obviously didn't want to do this -94. We're just trying to make sure that this works. So I'm going to go back and change this back to this. Save this, go back and send emails out, and they should send our emails. And that's it. So emails are going through just fine. And that's what we have for our tutorials. So obviously there are a lot of things here that can be improved, and I encourage you to do some improvements, and I would like to see them. So if you actually do some improvements, please share. Let's see what it actually looks like. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.